Hello everyone and welcome back to our Storytime channel. Today, I've got a wonderful tale for you, all about friendship, clever thinking, and the amazing things we can do when we work together. So, get comfortable, and let's dive right into our story. On a bright and sunny afternoon, a group of friends were gathered by the sparkling river that flowed through their town. The sun was warm, the birds were singing, and laughter filled the air. There was Lily, with her bright red ribbons, Tom, who always had a new joke to tell, Sam, the quiet and thoughtful one, and Maya, who was brave and full of energy. They were playing with their favorite toys, creating a magical world right there on the grass. Lily had a tiny boat she imagined sailing across the vast ocean, while Tom had a little blue car he pretended was racing through a bustling city. They were having the best time, so caught up in their imaginative games that they didn't notice how close they were getting to the water's edge. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept by, and whoosh, Tom's favorite little blue car, the one he treasured so much, tumbled off the riverbank and landed with a small splash right in the middle of the flowing water. For a moment, everyone froze. They watched as the tiny car bobbed up and down, carried slowly away by the current. Tom's face fell, and his eyes started to well up. "Oh no," he cried out. "My car. It's going to be lost forever." The other children rushed to his side. They could see how upset he was, and their hearts went out to him. The car was just out of reach, too far to grab from the bank. The water was a bit too deep and moving too quickly for any of them to safely wade in. They looked at each other, a worried expression on each of their faces. What could they do? It seemed like an impossible problem. But then Lily, always the optimist, spoke up. "Don't worry, Tom," she said with a determined look. "We're not going to let your car float away. We'll get it back." Maya chimed in, her eyes scanning the area. "She's right. If we put our heads together, we can figure this out. We just need a plan." Sam, who had been quietly observing the situation, pointed towards a small pile of fallen branches and sticks nearby. "What if," he said softly, "what if we built something? Something to reach the car?" A spark of an idea lit up in their minds. A bridge. They could build a small bridge to cross the gap and rescue the car. It was a brilliant idea. But could they actually do it? It seemed like a huge task for just a few kids. "Yes, a bridge," Maya exclaimed, her excitement growing. "We can do it if we all help." And so, their mission began. They weren't just a group of kids playing anymore. They were a team of engineers, architects, and builders. Their first task was to gather materials. They scurried around like busy ants, collecting all the sturdy branches and long sticks they could find. Tom, forgetting his sadness for a moment, joined in with enthusiasm. He found some particularly long and strong-looking branches that would be perfect for the main supports. Lily, with her nimble fingers, gathered handfuls of long, tough grasses and flexible vines. "We can use these to tie the sticks together," she announced, holding them up for everyone to see. It was a clever idea that would make their structure much more stable. They laid the two longest branches across the narrowest part of the river, from the bank to a large flat rock that was just a little way out. It was tricky work. The branches wobbled, and they had to adjust them several times to make them secure. But they didn't give up. They encouraged each other, with shouts of "a little to the left" and "hold it steady." Once the main supports were in place, they started laying smaller sticks across them to create a walkway. Sam was very careful and methodical, making sure each stick was placed just right so there were no big gaps. He tested each one with a gentle push to make sure it was secure. Meanwhile, Lily and Maya worked together, using the vines and grasses to tie the joints of their makeshift bridge. They twisted and knotted, lashing the cross sticks to the main branches, making the whole structure stronger and safer. Their hands got a little dirty, and they even got a few small scratches, but they didn't mind. They were focused on their goal. Slowly but surely, their little wooden bridge began to take shape. It wasn't perfect, and it was a bit wobbly, but it looked like it just might work. They stood back for a moment to admire their handiwork. They had taken a pile of sticks and vines and turned it into something useful, something that could solve their problem. A sense of pride washed over them. Now came the most nerve-wracking part. Someone had to cross the bridge. The blue car was still bobbing in the water, a little further downriver now, but still within reach if they were quick. Everyone looked at Maya. She was the bravest, and she was also the lightest. "I'll do it," she said, her voice steady. She took a deep breath and stepped onto the edge of their newly built bridge. The others held their breath as she took her first careful step. The bridge creaked and swayed a little under her weight. "It's okay. It's holding," she called back to them, a confident smile on her face. Tom, Sam, and Lily watched with wide eyes, ready to help if anything went wrong. Maya moved slowly and deliberately, one step at a time, her hands outstretched for balance. She looked like a tightrope walker in a circus. Her heart was beating fast, but she kept her eyes fixed on the prize, the little blue car. When she reached the middle of the bridge, she knelt down carefully. The car was just below her. She stretched out her arm, her fingers reaching, and she got it. She closed her hand around the small toy car, a wave of relief washing over her. Holding the car tightly, she carefully turned around and made her way back across the bridge. When her feet touched the solid ground of the riverbank, her friends erupted in cheers. "You did it, Maya, you did it." She opened her hand and placed the wet but otherwise unharmed car back into Tom's waiting palms. Tom's face lit up with a huge, happy smile. He hugged Maya, and then he hugged Lily and Sam. "Thank you," he said, his voice filled with gratitude. "Thank you, everyone. I thought it was gone for good." As the sun began to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the river, the four friends sat together, looking at the little bridge they had built. It was more than just a pile of sticks. It was a symbol of their friendship and what they could accomplish. They hadn't just saved a toy. They had learned something much more important that day. They learned that no problem is too big when you face it with your friends. They learned that everyone has a special skill to offer, whether it's finding strong branches, thinking of clever ways to tie things together, carefully placing each piece, or being brave enough to take the first step. They learned that teamwork truly does make everything possible. And as they packed up their things to go home, they knew they wouldn't forget this day. The memory of their teamwork, their shared purpose, and their success would stay with them. A happy reminder that together, they could build bridges to overcome any obstacle that came their way. What a beautiful story about the power of working together. It just goes to show that when we combine our strengths and support each other, we can achieve amazing things. Thanks so much for listening today. If you enjoyed our story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Until next time, keep being kind and keep working together. Bye for now.